There is a lie at the heart of Japan's poisonous fugu industry.
Pufferfish species that killed one and sickened 8 others in Nantou last month.
The secret to fugu eating safety, it isn't what you think. The belief that your life will be in the hands of a chef is today a myth.
But I like to live dangerously, people. You guys might have never seen this scene.
In this video, we're going to uncover the true method of detoxification, the real heroes at the heart of it, and explain why the industry is keeping it silent. Finally, we're going to ignore just all of it, show you how you can find a truly highly toxic pufferfish at a simply eye-watering price. And this time, my life truly will be in the hands of a chef. We're going to do this the old school way.
Good morning, people. We are here in Shimoneski, the fugu capital of Japan, the world, in fact. We are at Karato market, the epicenter, the public face of this poisonous-ish fish.
Shimoneski's Karato market is the global heart of the fugu industry. And the place feels kind of like an amusement park. It's just all devoted to this infamous fish. Everywhere you turn, fugu is staring back at you. There's oversized inflatable pufferfish floating above the stalls, lanterns adorned with their cartoonish fish faces, and even manhole covers bear their image.
And it seems light and fun and atmospheric, and it just seems kind of odd that this is all in sort of celebration of a fish that can kill you. We're inside the Fugu Museum here, and I mean, some of these things are freaking huge. That's one big pufferfish.
Once a symbol of danger and of culinary precision, the pinnacle of Japanese culinary arts, fugu here are now served casually in almost a street food manner. Kids snack on deep fried skewers without a second thought. Everywhere, fugu has been codified, commoditized, turned kinda kitsch. They're selling fugu ramen, dried bone chips.
Thank you. If you needed any more indication that this fugu was not the kind of deadly, gonna kill you instantly sort of food, here we have fugu instant noodles. Again, just part of the kind of casualization of fugu within this area. Believe it or not, you can buy poisonous fish that can kill you from a vending machine. I think this is definitely the way I die. And then it goes on one of those weird lists, like dumbest way to die. In an attempt to get views, YouTuber dies from eating vending machine poisonous fugu. That's how I go out. You will never see another episode. Sorry, guys. I did not think this was gonna happen, but we have sashimi from a vending machine. It says -22 degrees, so potentially, thanks to Japanese high health and safety standards, we have some chance of surviving. We're gonna find out. Very different sashimi experience. If I die because of this, it will totally not be worth it. I mean, that was nothing close to exceptional.
The kind of romantic danger, the allure around the craftsmanship that once defined fugu seems to have just been diluted, reduced to a tourist fare.
It feels like a little bit casual, no? I thought that the fugu was gonna be like some fine dining, high-end thing. The chef was gonna have my life in his hands.
Yeah.
But here it's just like deep fried in chicken nuggets.
Yeah, probably.
I know this sounds dumb. I kind of thought that they would have no real meat in them, or that it would just be like a really skinny fish inside. But these kind of like, it's really large, chunky, meaty bits. Okay. Honestly, for a pufferfish, actually a really good fish, right? It has like this light flakiness to it. The karage is really nice, oily, and I mean, the flesh is firmer than I thought. It's really good, right? I wonder what the chances are that we would die from a bite like this. It doesn't seem that high. Like, there seems to be no risk here. No one seems to be taking any precautions.
And the big secret, guys, what they don't want you to know, is that nowadays, These fugu, the fugu that are sold at this kind of public market, they are completely non-poisonous. And one of the men who is responsible for detoxifying these fish is willing to show me exactly how at his fugu farm. Let's go. To truly grasp the reality behind fugu, we need to go to the source. Just outside of Shimoneski City, along the calm Seto Inland Sea, lies Ando Farm, one of many fugu farms that make this region the heart of the Japanese pufferfish industry. Shimoneski isn't just the fugu capital in name. It's responsible for over 80% of Japan's fugu production, with dozens of farms cultivating millions of fish annually. Just next to the ocean, the farm itself operates large sheltered tanks in huge sheds. Here, row upon row of enclosures hold thousands and thousands of torafugu, or tiger pufferfish. These are the most prized and potentially lethal of their kind. This setup raises around 300,000 fugu each year, a production scale that significantly boosts the local economy while supplying restaurants all across Japan. Today, we're going to see the simple steps taken to ensure that these fish are not poisonous.
Guys, it is crazy just how many fugu there are here. I mean, this facility is absolutely massive. I feel like we're going through this endless dark alleyways of fugu ponds. They are all different sizes and varieties. And each one of these ponds has like 600-700 fugu.
In true Japanese fashion, the operation here is just meticulous. The water quality constantly monitored with parameters like temperature, salinity. The oxygen level is kept within strict ranges to mimic the fugu's natural habitat. And critically, the fish are fed a carefully controlled diet to promote healthy growth.
And what is it?
メインは魚粉です。
That takes about 18 to 24 months for a fugu to reach market size.
So these big fatty fugus that are here are getting fed up for the last time. They're getting harvested today. It's kind of like your last meal. Sorry guys, it's anchovy meal today.
And you can instantly see why these things originally had the name of river pigs. They are ferocious eaters.
Hey, that is wild. These guys are hungry. It is crazy how fast and ferocious these things eat.
The scale of the place is immense and it is impressive. There's only 3 or 4 staff that are able to manage this entire facility. It's not high-tech or flashy, it is just practical and efficient. It's been honed over decades since fugu farming took hold here in the early 1980s.
The overall setup here is kind of interesting as well. This is all ocean water that is getting pumped out directly from the ocean. But the fugus themselves cannot be kept in the ocean pens because there is a risk that they will eat natural foods. And that natural food thing becomes very important because that is where the poison comes from, it turns out.
Scientifically known as Tachyfugu ruparis, the tiger pufferfish, commonly called torafugu in Japan, was historically referred to as a river pig. Kanji for fugu is quite literally river and pig, and fugu's notorious reputation is well earned.
Neither of the two should ever be eaten, as they are both toxic to humans.
It has a deadly history that has been embedded deeply in Japanese culture for centuries. Consuming this fish was once, and can still be if you know where to look, a true gamble. Historically, fugu was so deadly that during the Edo period between 1603 and 1868, the Tokugawa shogunate banned the consumption entirely. Despite the risks, the allure of fugu, it persisted. It symbolized both luxury and the thrill of flirting with death.
Guests will come back to enjoy the deadly delicacy, even if it's not cheap, at 150 euros per person and more.
It is estimated that hundreds of people died annually from fugu poisonings in the past. The fish contains tetrodotoxin, a neurotoxin 1,200 times more lethal than cyanide. Just one fugu fish carries enough toxin to kill 30 adult humans. It is concentrated mainly in the liver, ovaries, intestines, and occasionally the skin. And there is no known antidote.
This is 1 milligram of toxin, enough to kill you.
Across Southeast Asia, similar species of pufferfish have caused numerous poisoning cases. In countries like Thailand, Philippines, Vietnam, where regulations are less stringent, poisonous pufferfish remain a serious concern, with dozens of deaths reported in just recent years.
The man died, and his friends have all ended up seeking hospital treatment.
Each species of fugu also has different poisonous parts of their body. It's not uniform, and with over 100 different species that look similar, things get incredibly complicated really quickly.
DNA analysis revealed that it was the lunar-tailed pufferfish, which is so toxic that just 1 or 2 slices of its meat can be fatal.
And it is just best advised to avoid these completely. Don't be like me in the Philippines.
Basically, the skin of the pufferfish, you kind of a really rubbery type of material, and you can sort of separate off onto the bottom of it. There's just chunks of meat that have been sitting there on the bottom of the pufferfish. So I'm trying to do that. I think I got a little bit of bone. Oh my God, this is really tricky to eat.
And as it turns out, these farmers, they're the real heroes. This controlled environment, especially the carefully managed diet, has resulted in a fugu that studies have found to be completely non-toxic. A pivotal study conducted in Japan demonstrated that fugu raised in captivity and fed a controlled toxin-free diet do not accumulate tetrodotoxin in their bodies at all. Countries like Singapore now limit all import of fugu to those from Japanese farms because of this reason. It is just simply so safe. And the chef nowadays, regardless of their knife skills, they have pretty much nothing to do with it. The real danger here has been mitigated, not by the chefs, but by the farmers. Hell, you could probably cook these things at home, throw them in the microwave, chop it into cubes. Who knows? Don't actually do that. I'm just a YouTuber. This is bro science at best. But anyway, you kind of get the drift, right? Poisonous fugu, it's a lie. Then we've got to prepare them for sale at a nearby auction.
We are moving an absolute ton of these fish today. We're taking a quick break to help out with a little bit more of the process. This is, I believe, the teeth cutting. Fugus have these beaks, which mean they can damage each other in amongst the farming process. So important is that once they get to a sort of middle stage, the teeth are actually, I think, cut off, de-beaked. Guys, so it seems we have loaded a bunch of the fugus into this bucket. It has a bunch of sedative or painkiller in there as well. I mean, they already look a little bit sleepy to me. Like they're just kind of chilling out in this container. It's rather surprising. We're gonna grab one of these fatty guys out. Oh man, there's just like water gushing out of its head. Oh man, it's spraying everywhere. It is crazy. It's kind of like cutting your nails, but oh man, I'm not gonna lie. My teeth hurt just watching this. You know, I was kind of not taking this seriously when I heard that they were putting painkillers in that water, but now I'm kind of happy for these things. This looks a little bit rough. All right, we've got a fresh new batch of these teeth cutting little guys. Sorry, buddies. This is like your worst dental trip ever. Does not look fun.
From here, the fish of a certain size need to be selected for sale. Only fish of a certain size are being taken to auction today. So at first, we're just gonna eyeball them and make sure that they are around about 1.2 kilos or that they're safely over that limit. But soon enough, once it gets kind of 50-50, the scales come out.
Specific letterbox sizing today, 1.2 to 1.4 kilos. We are after this exact fish. Essentially, you can see like if it's not 1.4 kilos, it's going back.
Finally, a giant fish tank on wheels rocks up, and it's time to get these fish loaded up and shipped off for the auction.
So we are weighing and unloading these things one basket at a time in the most Japanese way ever. This kind of thing is kind of crazy. I just can't believe this truck exists with just the open top pool on top. It has a little viewing window on the side. Be an interesting thing to pull up next to at a stoplight, that's for sure. Fugu is wrapped up for the day. We shipped off 110 of those bad boys in one foul swoop. That is it. Truck is headed off on its way.
And don't worry, guys. Despite the fact that these Ando farmed fugu are entirely non-toxic, at that same auction, I am going to track down a large, entirely wild, highly toxic fugu that has been eating all the kinds of nasty critters that helps it build up that detritus in its liver and its skin. And we're gonna eat it. Because it's kind of boring to eat non-toxic fugu. That's sort of the point. Let's go. I'll see you guys there, 3 a.m. tomorrow morning.
All right, we are out in an industrial estate way on the outskirts of Xiumenski. This is the real market, not the kind of public facing, but this is where the actual action goes down.
The Hatomari Fugu auction market in Xiumenski is the largest wholesale fugu market on earth.
All right guys, so despite having just an absolutely huge storage facility over here as part of the auction house, it seems that they also keep a large amount of the fugu stored out in the ocean right behind us in just ocean-bearing pens. So this is kind of wild. They have what looks like the world's largest hand net. Obviously, it's also attached to a crane. And they're just lifting literally hundreds and hundreds of fugu out of these ocean ponds in one foul swoop and just getting ready for the next auction. You know, when they say fugu capital of the world, they mean it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if over 50% of all of the fugu sold literally worldwide comes out of this one region of Japan. And it is kicking off now. I mean, they are really moving fast to get everything prepared for this auction that's just about to begin. These holding tanks line all along the wall, and in front of each of them they have a sign, a number that is indicating of who the original farm or seller was.
We're unloading these fugu by just massive bucket loads. It is kind of crazy the size of some of these fugu coming out of these holding tanks.
Some of those really giant ones are in fact wild fugu, these 3 kilo monsters. And that's 3 kilos of very, very deadly fish. And it's expensive at that weight, trust me. The reason they're cutting up fugu this early is so that we can get a sample. The buyers can see exactly what it's like. So this is almost like prep before the auction. Oh, there's an alarm. We might be about to kick things off. You hear that? Guys, so this process is kind of fast and furious and it is super interesting. So they use a sort of black tube to do hidden hand signals in order to place the auction. This is so that the other buyers are not aware of how much they're placing. It's kind of like a blind bidding system. Yeah, fascinating.
Buyers come here to fulfill orders from all over Japan. They're looking to procure the best specimens for both farmed and wild fugu. The value of fugu at this market is determined by several factors, including the size, weight, its uniformity of its appearance.
Is it just me, or auctions might just be the most fun thing on earth? Come on, but Japanese auctions, that's next level. That guy was almost singing. Look, I don't know too much of what is going on, but it seems to be pretty clear that the big wild fugu are very heavily bidded on, whereas some of the other stuff, it's just kind of a bit more of a commodity. Second batch, and we have swapped the auctioneer. This guy's got a great voice. I mean, they both do. My kind of auction, it is so quick. Sounded like that Mongolian throat singing, and somehow with this whole hand signal method, I thought it was kind of weird and wacky at first, but it makes perfect sense with just how fast they're moving. Like, it seems almost much faster than having to go backwards and forwards, bidding and outbidding. This silent bid method, you pretty much gotta just put your best foot forward right away. No one else can see where you've bid because it's literally a freaking hand signal in a bag. And yeah, highest bid wins. We move on to the next one. Fast and furious. All right, so that is it. It is a wrap. 3:30 a.m. and that whole process from loading up, cutting samples, auction, load up, head out of here. Everything is wrapped in way less than an hour. I mean, we arrived here 2:30. Preparation kind of started beginning around then. So just an incredibly efficient process.
And because of this, it is best advised that outside of just ridiculously high-end, very specialized restaurants, that you avoid eating wild pufferfish of all kinds completely. The man who has my life in his hands today is Matsuoka-san. Nestled in a quiet corner of Shimaneski is a luxurious restaurant that looks like some ancient Japanese castle. This restaurant is a portal into the past, designed with the classic elegance of paper walls and tatami mat flooring. It's just as one would imagine from hundreds of years ago. Matsuoka-san, with his decades of experience, is a master dedicating himself almost exclusively to wild fugu.
Alright guys, so these organs are so potentially deadly, they need to be disposed by a specialist company. You bag it separately, they pick it up, they dispose in some kind of safe way. Your local neighborhood cat is not going to be at risk.
The taste, many tell me, is far superior.
Guys, if you want this kind of like unique Japanese food experience, something that might be a little bit difficult to arrange if you don't speak Japanese, then I would highly recommend Buy Food. They are a Japanese website whereby you can book unique food experiences or just restaurants like this. They completely remove the language barrier. And there is no way that I could have arranged the shooting trip here in Japan without their help. I think that if you want to dive deep into Japanese culture in general, especially food culture, then Buy Food might be the single best way to do it. If you want to support me on this channel and support them, really, I can't recommend them anymore. I've been blown away the entire time, and this meal in front of me right now might be the pinnacle of all of that. Check them out, links will be in the description below. Here we go. Honestly, one of the finest courses that's ever been laid out in front of me. There are 7 or 8 dishes made from this one wild fugu. The price is kind of eye-watering if I'm honest, but there's a few times in my life where I've had this much anticipation built up around a meal. This looks absolutely sensational. It was made with a kind of clinical surgical skill that I feel like you're only going to find from a chef in Japan. All right, so I've been told that we're going to start with this this jelly. Oh wow, that is crazy. There's like a lemony citrusness to it. It has some of the more textured fugu. I wouldn't be surprised if that is skin that's been mixed in there, and that is absolutely sensational. So we have the skin here soaked in ponzu. Let's go. Sweet, sour, almost zing to it. Okay, this is the bit that I think everyone's been waiting for. This sashimi looks just ridiculous. Here's the thing that I'm quickly finding about fugu is that it definitely has way more chew to it than you would imagine. It's not the kind of like fall apart, flake apart in your mouth type fish that you might be thinking is the goal. In fact, the chef was even telling us that one of the reasons that they leave it in a fridge overnight is so that it really firms up. They don't want it to fall apart as much. They're after that kind of texture. It's definitely there. This is not the kind of fatty tuna that you can kind of like push and break with your tongue. It's got chew. But we're gonna add this now with a little bit of this. Is this soy sauce? It must be, right? Oh my God. All of a sudden, this really neutral fish has just taken on a ton of flavor. A few other things are on this plate. We have a layer of the inner skin that has been cooked. The skin has 3 layers, the kind of rough top layer, a fatty middle, and then maybe like a sinewy fat on the underside. This is the middle layer. Wow, it's crazy. That's like not rubbery at all. As soon as this flesh is cooked, it's got some bite, but you bite right through it. There's none of that squiddy type texture at all. Okay, so in the most like maybe Japanese form ever, we are now gonna have a pudding of some kind. It's very savory. There is a million flavors going on just in this one pudding. It is really, really pretty incredible. All right, guys, it is grilling time. This is kind of fun. We have a hot pot to our right. We have a sort of flat dish in front of us, and we get to barbecue in the middle of this joint. Oh, so easy. Oh, wow. You can hear that sizzle right away. We're gonna do a few of these. She said I could also eat these raw, so I don't really have to worry about overcooking them. So from that, I get that. We're just gonna try and do this quickly. You can see it curl up right away. All right, let's get those off. We grilled up 3 of these skins. We're gonna go one straight up, and then we're gonna go for some of these barbecue accompaniments that they have provided us with. That is a beautiful piece of fish. You know, I've got to admit, I think one thing you would definitely say about fugu is that it is 100% unique. Like, there's no other fish that I've had before that has this same kind of characteristic. It's white flesh, but it is not necessarily flaky. You can still bite straight through it. You get those like clean crunches, those clean cuts of flesh. This inner skin, so far, it might be my favorite. There's like a fatty muscular layer below the flesh. Maybe that's how it kind of puffs up, whatever it is. That meat, that cut, that's where it's at. This is the bit that I am most excited for. The karaage. I've been told I can eat it with my hands. We've got that light rice flour exterior. God, that smells lemony. So this is almost like the wing, the jawbone of the fugu. There's a lot of cartilage in there, bone, really light crunch. It's still warm, surprisingly. Obviously, it comes with a little bit more heft. Knowing that, though, the ones you have at the market are very unlikely to kill you, when this one still potentially could. I still feel like, though, with the level of these chefs, with the Japanese detail, chances are slim. Final dish of this just like monstrous course, the manju. It looks like some kind of dessert. I'm eating it with this tiny chopstick that they provided. So it's got like a gelatinous-y outside, more of a powdery inside. This is my first manju for sure. Not that sugary, not that creamy. Just a nice balanced dish to finish off this meal. It makes sense to me now. This is more quintessential of the fugu experience that, at least in the West, you have in your mind. It might be dramatized, it might not be quite as risky nowadays as it's maybe made out in films or in like common pop knowledge, but this is tough to beat, I'm telling you. If this is my last meal, it could well be worth it. Well, maybe not worth it, but there's probably tougher ways to go out, that's for sure.